Welcome to the Reddit selection, where the wildest, funniest, and most jaw-dropping stories from Reddit come to life. Today we are diving into Amethyst hole. Sit back, grab a snack, and enjoy the show. Am I the butthole for not inviting my pregnant sister-in-law to my wedding? My partner and I are due to get married soon. My brother David has always been viewed as the favorite in my family, and so is his wife, Jill. I, on the other hand, am always viewed as the problem in my mother's eyes. A few years ago, we celebrated my stepbrother's wedding with our family. David, Jill, my fiancé, and I stayed in an apartment and had breakfast together the next morning, and all was seemingly great. That was until later that afternoon, when I received a call from my mom saying Jill was at her house, in tears, because I insulted her appearance at the wedding. I have zero recollection of this, but my fiancé was with me the whole night and was adamant that I did not say anything. Plus, Jill showed no signs of being upset or annoyed with me at any point. I was disappointed that my mom did not ask me and jumped to conclusions that I was in the wrong. I apologized to Jill, and that was seemingly the end of it. Our relationship with Dave and Jill has been icy since then, and Jill has made no effort to engage with my fiancé on our upcoming wedding and family event. At Christmas, when we were visiting my mom and stepdad, Dave and Jill both arrived and announced that they are expecting a baby, first grandkid in the family, and that's it's due on our wedding day. After a few drinks, my stepdad made a remark that our big day is now about Dave and Jill as well. I spoke to my mom about this, and she assured me that this wouldn't be the case and that they would be celebrating us. My stepdad disagreed again. Our wedding day is really important to us and our friendship. We have a 2-day wedding. The first day is a ceremony and a meal in an upmarket restaurant for 30 of our closest friends and immediate family. The next day is a party for all our other friends and extended family. David and Jill are invited to both days, but given the long day, and that she is due to give birth on the day, we did not have the space to accommodate Jill for the evening meal. She also said she didn't want to go originally as she doesn't like that kind of food, but has changed her stance since on wanting to attend. My mom has now demanded that we invite Jill to the meal, and has been pretty aggressive towards me and my fiancé. We have stated that we don't have the space. My fiancé's close friends and stepmom aren't going, and that we don't think it's suitable. The ceremony at the meal is very intimate, and we only want our closest friends there. My mom has now said that they need to be there for Jill, in case she goes into labor, and so she needs to be at the venue. I should point out that Jill also has family, albeit they are a 1-hour flight away, and not all of our family are going to the meal. We are paying for the wedding ourselves too. I just feel like this should be a day to celebrate me and my two-year wife, but my family have made it clear that they want it to be about Jill, who has made it clear she doesn't even like us. So please help. Am I the butthole? Thanks. Now let's check out some of the comments on this post. Not the butthole I call hogwash on Sil being due on the wedding day. I bet she's only saying that for the attention to be on her, and especially for everyone to be watching her during the weekend in case the egg hatches, so to speak. I predict it will be after the event. Why else is she so pushing to be there, when she claimed she had no interest? Sil wants to put on a show at your wedding. I would inform your mother that if she chooses to miss out on your wedding, that is her choice. The invites have been sent, and all the seats have been allotted. Then go enjoy your day with your partner. Stop giving them miserable space in your lives to create mayhem. Your mother will be the one missing out. Seriously. She's due the next day, and she's pushing to go to a formal dinner. No damned way. Most who are that pregnant don't even leave home until their water breaks. It's hinky. Not the butthole. Literally my thoughts. I was miserable the last 2 weeks of my pregnancy, and I went 5 days over and ended up with induction. Then emergency C-section on the 3rd day. I didn't want to be anywhere. I didn't want to do T, and I felt huge. Even for family, I wouldn't want to be expected to be there all weekend, let alone want to be of. I was that close. I agree this is all about attention. It's your day. Invite who you want, not the butthole. Going over is so embarrassing. Everyone looks at you and says shit like, "You're still here?" I hated that. That's why I told most people a date 2 weeks later than my first kid was due. I knew I didn't want people checking in if I went late. Wouldn't you know it? First kid showed up on the due date. Had to call work and tell them I couldn't come in because I was having a baby. My daughter decided to come a week earlier than thought. I had Braxton Hicks, so I went to work. In an ed, coworkers insisted I leave and go to Dr. Yup. They were right. Head nurse finished my shift. My son was due a week before my B-day, but we had an elective C-section scheduled for the week before his due date. Kid was like, "Screw your plans, I'm coming when I feel like it," and showed up 1 week before the planned C-section. Honestly, my initial date of inception may have been off slightly, but my son always measured on bigger side. History of big babies and C-sections from me. My mil.e. And my husband's ex-wife who had 3 kids C-section. He was expected to be over Kaiserobes, and I gained a lot of weight in pregnancy, so it set me up to get high pressure to go for scheduled induction when I went past my due date. Being first-time mom myself, I let myself get talked into it. I mean, I was miserable, 'cause I felt like a whale, but I should have waited a few more days. All in hindsight, given we didn't expect emergency C-section when I had wanted a natural birth. Never got a chance. I realized after the scheduling was probably more for her convenience with inferred baby health concerns, but I should have stood up for myself. At any rate, I definitely wouldn't want to be at a wedding though. As a whale. And now for the next story. Am I the butthole for not loving my sister's children the way she and her husband do? Too long. Didn't read. On a recent visit to see my sister and her 3 children, told me she was hurt and disappointed that I don't love her children in the same manner that she and her husband do. I told her this was an unreasonable expectation. Am I the butthole? The past 2 years I, 43 female, have traveled to spend a week with my sister, 40 female, and her family. She and her husband and have 3 young boys, a 3.5-year-old and twin 2.5-year-old. It's about a 6-hour flight, so it's not a trip I can make on a regular basis. When I visited last February, it was a great trip. Good mix of sister time, hanging out with the kids and her husband, a night out, a house party, just all around enjoyable. Her husband is great and is a stay-at-home dad. My sister works from home and is a successful businesswoman. I was genuinely excited to go visit again last month. I'm not a kid person, and I never have been. My partner and I are intentionally childless, and we love our quiet, low-key life. I'm good with kids. I'll play with them with their toys. I'll crawl around on the floor with them. I'm down to do whatever goofy thing they're into, but for only about 2 hours at a time. Then I have to tap out and recharge. I'm also not great with the constant noise kids make. I understand that's just what they do, but I've got a low threshold for it, especially when it's the full-blown meltdowns. For the first 3-4 days I was at my sister's, the 3 kids were screaming and crying nearly every 25 minutes. So when the temper tantrum started, I'd go outside, or at least leave the room. At one point, the kids and husband are out of the house, and my sister took the opportunity to tell me how she's disappointed that I don't love the boys the way, husband's name, and I do. I said that I do love the boys, and I asked if there was something I did or didn't do with the kids that upset her. She said no, that I was great with them. I asked if she thought I was paying enough attention to them. She said I was, but brought up my low tolerance for the fits. I apologized and reminded her that I'm really not used to it, and that it's kind of stressful. So I just removed myself from the situation. Things kind of developed from there, but we recovered and the rest of the trip was fine enough. Am I the asshole thinking that my sister's request is way off base? I love my nephews, but I don't think anyone can love children in the way that child's parents do. Now let's check out some of the comments on this post. You're not the butthole. Your sister's expectation that you have the same tolerance for her screeching children as she does is unreasonable. Not even sure why she brought it up to you. Seems kind of weird, unless she and her husband had it in their heads to make you the children's guardian should something happen to them, and seeing your reaction to their tantrums made her realize that might not be a good idea. Here's the response from OP. They explicitly told me after the kids were born that I would not be the guardian in the event of a horrific tragedy BC. They know I'm not a kid person. Otherwise, what you're saying would make a lot of sense. I'm glad to hear your sister understands this at least. It's amazing how many people look at determined child-free couples in their family and think perfect. They'll be available to take on my kid if something happens to me and don't even really bring it up. It kind of sounds like they expected OP to step in and help, and now they're taking their disappointment for their own incorrect assumptions out on her. And now for the next story. Am I the butthole for not reminding my fiancé that stoves are hot? Last night, my fiancé, 31 male and I, 30 female, were winding down our days getting ready to make dinner. Together in the kitchen, I popped the chicken in the oven. Also, in the oven was our cast iron pan. We go back to our respective video games, and then when the chicken was getting closer to finished, I go out to the kitchen to start on veggies. I take the now 400 cast iron out of the oven, turn on the stove, and plop some butter in there, while I turn my back and start cutting veg. My fiancé comes out, asking what it is that he needs to do. I say I just need these veggies cut, which I was actively doing, and he goes to give the cast iron pan a shake to move the butter around. Yay! The 400 iron handle, he grabbed it. It was less than a second. No lasting damage, but definitely burned his fingers. First degree. Now, the question becomes, was I the asshole for not adequately warning him about the hot cast iron? More importantly, I am refusing more than 50% blame for the incident. To me, the cast iron handles will regularly get hot when using it on the stovetop, but obviously this was way hotter than usual hot, so I can't say that I would grab it with reckless abandon, like my lovely fiancé did. He claims I should at least take majority blame, 51%, 49% minimum, but he thinks more like 60%, 40%. Additionally, my back was turned. I didn't see him reach for the pan, or I would have warned him. We went back and forth on the percent blame for a long while last night, and we can't decide. Obviously, Reddit is the best place to go to solve relationship disputes. So am I the butthole? Now let's check out some of the comments on this post. What the absolute fuck? Why are you two assigning percentages to blame? This is a blameless situation. Your fiancé just accidentally grabbed a hot pan. You can't be blamed for that, and honestly neither can fiancé accidents happen. Sounds like fiancé's embarrassed, and cannot give themselves grace, so they need to turn it on you, to protect their ego. You shouldn't be feeding into the blame game either. Esh. When two actuaries marry. As an actuary engaged to another actuary, this is hilarious. Two close friends of mine, married, are both actuaries. And frankly, I think the balanced, transactional style is something to aspire to. You want a weekend with the lads? Buy me that purse. No guilt, no subtle. Just straight up assign values and variables. Yeah, you can game all day Saturday, but you're doing bath and bedtime for the baby Thursday and Friday first. A recent conversation at our house. As a lawyer married to an engineer, I would be analyzing liability, and he would be trying to figure out how to jerry the pot so you can grab it hot and not burn yourself. It's called a pot holder, and it's already been invented. They make handle covers for the cast iron. They're not oven-proof, and so far as being left on, they can be used to grab something from an oven. But so far, they've been stove-top-proof. I'd recommend OP invest in a few. Edit. Apparently they also make some that are truly oven-safe. Even better. Like and subscribe for more awesome daily Reddit content. And don't forget to hit the bell to get notified when I upload new videos.